আমাদের যে এখানে আমি বলার চেনটা রেখেছিলাম কোথাও।
One of the big questions I've had on my mind, I think it's in part because I saw those humanoid robots, and I sent this to my friends, and we had a little discussion in WhatsApp, is in such a world, and I don't know whether you're interested in answering this, but what do we do? I was actually pulled up at the gym the other day with my girlfriend. We sat outside because we were watching the shareholder thing, and we didn't want to go in yet.
Yeah.
And then we had the conversation, which is, in a world of sustainable abundance, where the price of food and the price of manufacturing things, the price of my life generally drops. And instead of having a cleaner or a housekeeper, I have this robot and does all these things for me. What do I end up doing? What is worth pursuing at this point? Because you say that, that the cat is out the bag as it relates to job impact. It's already happening.
Well, certain kinds of AI for certain kinds of jobs. And we can choose still from here which way we want to go. But go on, yeah.
And I'm just wondering, in such a future where you think about even yourself and your family and your friends, what are you going to be spending your time doing in such a world of abundance? If there was 10 billion...
Well, the question is, are we going to get abundance, or are we going to get just jobs being automated? And then the question is still, who's going to pay for people's livelihoods? So the math, as I understand it, doesn't currently seem to work out where everyone can get a stipend to pay for their whole life and life quality that as they currently know it. And are a handful of Western or US-based AI companies going to consciously distribute that wealth to literally everyone, meaning including all the countries around the world whose entire economy was based on a job category that got eliminated? So for example, places like the Philippines, where a huge percent of the jobs are customer service jobs. If that got automated away, are we going to have OpenAI pay for all of the Philippines? Do you think that people in the US are going to prioritize that? So then you end up with the problem of, you have law firms that are currently not wanting to hire junior lawyers because, well, the AI is way better than a junior lawyer who just graduated from law school. So you have two problems. You have the law student that just put in a ton of money and is in debt because they just got a law degree that now they can't get hired to pay off. And then you have law firms whose longevity depends on senior lawyers being trained from being a junior lawyer to a senior lawyer. What happens when you don't have junior lawyers that are actually learning on the job to become senior lawyers? You just have this sort of elite managerial class for each of these domains. So you lose intergenerational knowledge transmission.
Interesting.
And that creates a societal weakening in the social fabric.
We have a major breakthrough.
Big breakthrough.
Major breakthrough on the Dodo de-extinction project.
Humanity may be one step closer to bringing back the dodo from
extinction, which has been extinct for about 400 years now. Colossal Biosciences.
Colossal Biosciences announced
We are going to bring back.
I was watching some podcasts over the weekend with some successful billionaires who are working in AI, talking about how they now feel that we should forgive student loans.
Yeah.
And I think in part this is because of what's happened in New York with, was it Mamdani?
Yeah, Mamdani, yeah.
Mamdani's been elected, and they're concerned that socialism's on the rise because the entry-level junior people in the society are suppressed under student debt, but also now they're going to struggle to get jobs, which means they're going to be more socialist in their voting, which means a lot of people are going to lose power that want to keep power.
Yep, exactly. That's probably going to happen.
Okay. So their concern about suddenly alleviating student debt is in part because they're worried that society will get more socialist when the divide increases.
Which is a version of UBI, or just carrying, a safety net that covers everyone's basic needs. So relieving student debt is on the way to creating kind of universal basic need meeting, right?
Do you think UBI will work as a concept? UBI, for anyone that doesn't know, is basically
universal basic income.
Distributing money.
Gets a stipend.
Giving people money every month.
But I mean, we have that with Social Security. We've done this when it came to pensions. That was after the Great Depression, I think in like 19...
ওটা না থাকলে তাহলে গোল দিয়ে দিও যদি না থাকে
leaving student debt is on the way to creating kind of universal basic need meeting, right?
Do you think UBI will work as a concept? UBI, for anyone that doesn't know, is basically
Universal basic income that
Distributing
everybody
money.
gets a stipend.
giving people money every
Right.
month.
But I mean, we have that with Social Security. We've done this when it came to pensions. That was after the Great Depression, I think in like 1935, 1937, FDR created Social Security. But what happens when you have to pay for everyone's livelihood everywhere in every country? Again, how can we afford that?
Well, if the costs go down 10x of making things,
This is where the math gets very confusing, because I think the optimists say you can't imagine how much abundance and how much wealth it will create. And so we will be able to generate that much. But the question is, what is the incentive again for the people who've consolidated all that wealth to redistribute it to everybody else?
you just have to tax them.
And how will we do that when the corporate lobbying interests of trillion-dollar AI companies can massively influence the government more than human political power?
Well,
In a way, this is the last moment that human political power will matter. It's sort of a use it or lose it moment, because if we wait to the point where in the past, in the Industrial Revolution, we start automating, a bunch of the work, and people have to do these jobs that people don't want to do in the factory, and there's like bad working conditions, they can unionize and say, hey, we don't want to work under those conditions. And their voice mattered because the factories needed the workers.
Mhm.
In this case, does the state need the humans anymore? Their GDP is coming in almost entirely from the AI companies. So suddenly this political class, this political power base, they become the useless class, to borrow a term from Yuval Harari, the author of *Sapiens*. In fact, he has a different frame, which is that AI is like a new version of digital. It's like a flood.
দিও